Hi everyone. I guess we're just getting over Christmas and we're going to celebrate New Year's, and some of you already have. So before we get into talking about the dendrobiums, we wish you a really happy, healthy New Year, everybody, and better things to come. We're going to wash away that old year and bring on the new year. And we'll be doing it kind of quietly at our house. So I want to talk about dendrobiums. So I'm going to give you a close-up of this one first. Now this is the one that fell from the top shelf in the other room and broke, and where the big black clip is where it broke right off. So you can see that clip. And then the flowers above that. That stalk is a little shriveled, but it is flowering. So we're quite happy about that. We are getting, 2, 4, 6, maybe 7 flowers on that stalk, and the rest are just beautiful. And it doesn't matter from what side you look, it's just thick in there with flowers. Yeah. So, here. So, I'm going to show you the other one after too. So this is one I've had since 2017. I ordered it as a little baby plant, and over the years I've learned how to get them to flower like this regularly. At first I was just learning. I never had a dendrobium, and being up here in the interior of BC, sometimes things are a little different. But this is Nobile Dendrobium Spring Smile Lovely Paradise. And it's beautiful, and I haven't counted the flowers, but there is a lot. So as we come into spring, the biggest thing I learned was one year when I was in the spring, when we start watering our phalaenopsis, we're pushing for more nitrogen. So I had been watering my phalaenopsis with the extra nitrogen, and also watering the dendrobium the same way, and that was wrong, because that will just probably ensure that you get cakeys. So I switched, and I just use a balanced fertilizer on this. Doesn't matter what kind you have, but balanced. And definitely not the high nitrogen, your first number. Definitely not that. And that is the number one thing. And once every second week for fertilizer is enough. So one watering week, you fertilize all your other plants, and maybe don't do this. And the second one, you do it. And they've both been fine. And I did repot these last year. And this one went into a recycled latex paint plastic can. And it's a little too light. I do advise you to use a heavier pot. Even terracotta would work. And mine are just in bark like the rest, like the phalaenopsis. I just use bark, and I probably will be adding some lava rock too, because my bark, it started out large, then you couldn't get large, then it turned to medium, and it's looking like small medium in the bag I just opened. So lava rock might help as an extra little thing. But the smaller it gets, the more moisture it will hold in there, which isn't too bad when you're not adding moss or any other things. So, and it probably will not last as long as the large bark. So I've got a whole bag of it, and I'll use it, and I'll show you it another day. So it's in bark. I repotted it last week, and I did put the cages on both of them. This one is a tomato cage I cut off, and because they were hanging and taking up a lot of space and causing problems, and so I've contained them, and I'm happy with that. So the next best thing, and we're looking at, like, maybe yours have not, if you don't have blossoms on yours, it might not be too late, but you could try it. They do need that 10 to 15 degree drop in temperature. And I usually get mine by in the fall, when I'd already bought the phals in. They can take a little cooler temperature. They can stay outside until we're hitting the low 50s. And I wouldn't worry if it was a high 40s, but you don't want to freeze them. So we'll say the low 50s at night and then heat up in the daytime. So they do need that. That's what mine were missing when they weren't flowering. And they do need that drop in temperature, just like most our hybrid phals. So if you give them that, the other thing, so if it's fall, you've let them cool down. And if you couldn't do it outside or on a patio, then maybe a garage that's cooler, but they still love lots of light. It doesn't matter where they go for the winter. If it's cooler at night, warmer, they can take not as warm as phals too. Like, they don't mind being a little cooler. Quite often why I have mine on the top shelves in my garden windows, because it's glass on the top and it stays a little cooler and a little brighter. So I often, mine are in the other window because I never had these other new ones, and that's where I keep them. So they do love lots of light. And in the growing season, they love as much light as they can get. Not direct hot sun unless you've slowly got them used to it. But mine are in the patio, and we have a shade cover over the roof where the glass is, but they're right out there and they get lots of reflected light, but no direct light. So they can also, if you have them outside, they can take your early sun, like not too hot on the western, the leaves will burn. So this is, if you put them out in the sun, they get a lot, as long as they're getting a lot of reflected light from all over. So if you're looking at your leaves of your dendrobium, you'll see if they're very dark, then they're not getting enough light. And if they're too light, then you can go with a little more shade. But the color of mine on these ones is looking pretty close to how it should be. So last fall I left them out late, and then I put them in the greenhouse. Now if you don't have a greenhouse, you can put them in a cold room in your house, or that still has lots of light but warms up a bit in the daytime, and then it's cool down at night. 10 degrees cooler to 15 degrees cooler than your daytime temperature. So mine went in the greenhouse on the top shelf. They still got light out there. And as soon as I saw little buds coming out, I brought them in. And some people say, oh, if you do that, well, then you'll get keikis. No, once those little buds have started, they know if they're going to be a flower, you know, just because they're green when they start, and they're green, quite a big green. Don't pick them off. One of the first years I had mine, I probably was going to have flowers, and I thought, oh no, keikis, and I picked them off. So don't do that. Give them time to mature and show you what they are, because you might think they're going to be keikis because they're quite green and they don't start to get color till those buds have some length to them. So that's another thing to watch for. And keikis isn't the worst thing. I don't want any more plants, so I'm not anxious to get keikis. And these flowers should last 2 months, approximately, maybe 3. So they're quite nice. And this one is doing really well. Now I want to show you the other one. So they're just in bark. They're getting treated mostly the same on watering days. On watering days, what you want to do is I make sure I give mine a real good soak and it runs right through the pot. And this pot has holes, just like my other orchid pots and the paint pot. So they do get lots of air, and I usually water them twice in a week in the summer, in the heat of the summer. And they did go through our nasty summer, our heat dome and the smoke dome. So they've done really well, and I'm going to show you a close-up of these ones. And these leaves are a little darker. There. There's quite a few coming in here. Trying to, yeah, in there. So, very pretty. There's still some opening on this one. It doesn't have as many flowers. Now, when I repotted them both, the paint can is a little smaller, and this pot's a little bigger. And probably you should repot them if you're just in bark, and the bark is quite small because the roots are smaller, so they don't mind, is every second year probably to repot them. But this one may last an extra year. I did put it in a little of a big pot, but I still did get flowers. So the leaves are a little darker green, and maybe this one could have got a little more light. I thought they were in the same place, but I can't remember. So actually, if you have any questions, you can email me at carolinorchidfriends@gmail.com, and I'll put that in the description. Or if you want to send pictures of your dendrobiums for the community page. So this little cage, the Dollar Tree had them for $1.25 or something, and I bought 2 and hooped them together. So it keeps them from getting in the way of knocking things over, because over here, this is my great big pot I put the 2 orchids in, my white ones, and I did that on just after Valentine's Day. And this spike here, it grew so long, but what I didn't notice is, and because we're like minus 18, I think, here today, we are very cold. And it's been in the other room, and the furnace has been on all the time, and I never even thought it was hanging where the flowers are. It grew so long, right over where the heat's coming up the vent in that room. And so I'll show you that. And so I blasted 3 buds, 1, 2, 3. So I brought it in here. It's a little further back, and it can't get over any heat vents. This glass shelf actually stops the heat from going straight up, and it makes it come out this way. So putting this glass shelf in front of the window was a good thing. So that was a shame, but what I'm hoping is it'll keep making more buds, and we will get them a little more. I was scared, so I thought, why are they blasting? And then I looked down at the heater. So anyway, so that's it with the dendrobiums. So in the spring, no high nitrogen, just a regular 20-20-20 or 10-10-10, just a regular all-purpose fertilizer, but not with the high nitrogen. So, and not every week, every second week. Good thorough waterings, lots of light. Now, if you get them, you can put them outdoors if you slowly get them used to that extra sun. A patio that gets light. They do like to go outside and get that nice fresh. The Cymbidiums were outside all last year, but not the Dendrobiums. So I wanted to show you that. And one last thing I want to share. Well, this little orchid, and the other one I think is in the other room, and I'll show it to you. It's in bud. But the two that I put out last spring in the greenhouse, and I marked them with these little pipe cleaners when I brought them in. They were out there all summer in 140 degrees. With the pond out there, there's a little more humidity than what you might think. So they were getting that, and they were not getting any set care. When I went in to water the trees, I'd give them a squirt of water. That would be it. They were on death's door when they went out there, and I thought, oh, tired of looking at them, and I put them out there, and I thought, well, you know, come what may. Well, come what may is they did better not getting fussed over. And they're just bark, and they were drying up lots of times. Sometimes I never watered them. And they were out there in 140 degrees on the second shelf, and so they weren't getting direct sun, but very hot. And they were out there the whole time. And I never brought them in till, I think I showed you on a video when I brought them in late summer, and I left them on the patio, even through all the smoke when I brought the others in, so they had the test. And what I really wanted to show you was this one. It might get one more flower, but it only has one. But it's got lots of nice healthy roots. But what really makes me happy is it's so beautiful. I would have lost it. I do not have another one like this. Now, it is so beautiful, and I could have lost it. So, you know, they do thrive on neglect. They need that humidity. It's got beautiful roots in here coming, and I'm sure now that it will be fine. So it was one that just struggled, and I have found that there are certain ones that are so hardy. They do better right from the beginning. You can give them the same care, and it must be in the parents they crossed for the hybrid or something, but it doesn't matter. And this one was the one that just struggled, and the other one there. And the other two that I had struggled were in this double suel pot, and they struggled, and then of course they fell on the floor and the pot broke, so I'll be putting them in that traffic cone soon. And for Christmas, another thing I want to share before I show you, I got a Thermal Pro humidity thermometer high-low. Now I've been using these cheap Canadian Tire humidity things, and I thought the humidity was like 50, 60. Guess what? It wasn't. It was very dry, and I wasn't turning on my humidity because I thought, oh, well, it's not bad. Well, anyway, now I got a proper one. Tells me the high and low, and we've just put it out today. But dry. Do you see in red where it says dry? 36. So yes, I turned my humidities on, and I just misted the air all over all the orchids. They're doing fine, but I'd like them to get a little bit more. And we've had such freezing temperatures here that their furnace is probably running like almost all the time. So I put that there. It's got a magnet on it, and that's the only little bit of spot I got. So I'm going to take you on a tour. That I'll show you a close-up of these, and I want to show you a couple little things as we go. And put that there. So I think, you know, as you get older, not saying I'm getting older, but as you get older, you know, there's always some hurdles and things happen, and things are always going on behind the stage. But you know what? We're starting a new year on a new leaf. And we're going to be strong and healthy like our orchids, because we know the right way to do it now. You know, we're going to watch what we eat and look after ourselves. Okay, so that's it. That's my New Year's resolution. And now I'm going to just show you on a little orchid tour. And it will be the last one till next year. Okay, let me just get this off of here. There we go. Okay. Yeah. The color is just beautiful. I don't know. I don't have that light on above me, so. But you can see these ones that they're smaller, but we got some from that clamp up. And you can see the shriveling because it, you know, I don't know if it's going to actually join on or how that's going to work. So, and then this one, they're hiding in there. They're just beautiful. They have a slight scent, and there's quite a few in here. So they're beautiful. I do love dendrobiums, you know. Just takes a while like everything else. Okay, let's peek over here. So in the corner here, we have this beauty. And of course, this is the two I put in that big pot. And this is how long this bite was growing. And it was right over the furnace vent. And you can see where 3 blasted. And I thought, why are they blasting? Well, it would be the furnace. So hopefully those are coming. And the one that was new, this is one, the white one I had already. And this is a new one I got at Valentine from Mother's Day from Rosemary. So it's coming too, and there's lots of flowers coming here, and up on this traffic cone has some nice flowers coming. They're not ready to open. And I moved all these baskets here because the glass is cold. I mean, it is cold out there. So this is the 2 that will go in this traffic cone. And this one is opened. Very pretty. They're going to look nice in the same pot. And this is the other one. So as soon as they're all open and I have the bark ready, I'm going to do them. I'm giving them time to open. And of course, the Monet pot is opening. And over here, my oldest orchid is finally coming of her own, and she's going to be better every year now because she suffered. I cut that huge root off her. So we have lots of little. Pretty soon they'll all be out, and for quite a while. So we're going to go in the other room. So this is where I had the big square pot, and it had grown all out and straight down. He went. Now I've got this one here because it was in bloom when we had the giveaways, so it probably won't bloom again till about that time. So it's okay there. And Moonglow is over here, and she's getting ready to open. So this window here is where the dendrobiums stay. They get lots of light, and a little cooler, and definitely cooler with this cold outside right now. But we have lots of flowers coming. And we'll be keeping in touch. This is the other one with the pipe cleaner. This is the other one that was in the greenhouse. And it also is starting to get better. It's got nice roots coming down in there. It's dry. So I'll probably give them a little extra water because they're extra dry. So Sunday is my kind of halfway point. So these should be opening soon. And they both have branches. This one has a branch coming in here. And over here we have a branch. So these two are happy in our homemade pot. I love playing with the pots. So that is it. And we'll see you next year. And have a happy, healthy New Year, everybody.